Hey everybody, happy Valentine's Day. So as a special I was thinking about drawing my favorite couple of Steven Universe, which is of course Ruby and Sapphire. Alright then, let's get to it. So at first we're going to draw Ruby, and for Ruby's head we are drawing a cube shape. And Ruby is going to look to the side. I'm planning on drawing Sapphire over here, and so Ruby is looking over to her side. And next of all we want to draw the headband, which is quite flat, like almost parallel to this line here on the front, but then curves around downwards, like so. And for the top of the head we are drawing these lines at first, which are not exactly straight down, but slightly tilted. And then again the same thing, we have at the front almost a flat curve, and then we go down like so. Alright, now for the rest of the hair, one is right here, we curve it downwards like this. It's not going straight down, and maybe slightly over the lines of the cube, and then we draw this other curve here starting from here and goes away from the other one and goes even over the line of the cube, and then we simply curve it around. It almost look like a floppy dog ear or something like that. And one also over here with the kind of the same curvature like here, and the same thing also right here, and we curve it to connect it like so. Alright, now for the face. Now the center lines at first, and the center line, the horizontal center line is about the center of the cube itself. Maybe it's slightly more downwards, but it's not the center of this part here. And this is where the eyes are going to be. And the eyes are very simple, they're just circular shapes, simple as that. And of course the pupils, which are looking at the right side. As for the nose, we can simply draw these two little lines here that are going down like a V. If you would draw Ruby even more from the side, then you would get the nose shape on the side too, which is going over the eye, but this is fine. Now as for the mouth, we are drawing a small bean shape, as to say, like so. And of course she's grinning happily like so, and for the grin we simply give her these three little lines for the teeth. And this is the head. Let's move over to the body. Now for the chest, we are starting about right here where we have the hair, the line for the hair, and curve it down, and we curve it a little bit slightly, and the size is smaller than the cube height. Of course, again, like it was with Steven Universe, the proportions for the body varies a lot depending on the scene in the cartoon series, so there are no exact numbers or something like that. As long as it looks still like Ruby after all, then it's fine. So we have here, down here also, the indication for the hip, and this is helping us out, so we can draw the legs. And for the legs, what I am normally doing is I draw at first these oval shapes, which are about the size of half of this distance here, like so, and the other one too, maybe a little bit smaller because of the perspective. And then we draw these very simple lines here, like about the same size as the ovals, maybe a little bit smaller, and then it abruptly ends like so. And later we can give it the curvature still, and this is going to be the foot. We just have this little, how to say, little tip here, and over here the same thing. We kind of follow this curvature right here, standing straight, and then the end of it, which is going to be the foot. Alright, now those lines too for the shoes and for the pants. Alright, and for the arms, the first one is going to be on the hip, like the first hand, and I'm drawing it in a very simple way. I have just here this guideline for the hand shape itself, and I simply separate it in 4 parts like so, and this is giving me the basic shape for the fingers, and the rest of the hand you cannot see because it's on the back. And then we just simply connect it with the shoulders like so, and there we go. We have the first arm, and the second arm is going to be right here, reaching out to Sapphire for her hand. And I'm doing it in this way that I have here this oval shape as the base of the hand to help me out a little bit. And as for the fingers, what I'm doing is I'm at first drawing the pinky finger curved around like so, and the other fingers are behind the one, but they are stretching out more and more. Like this one is reaching out slightly more, and then this one even further, and then the index finger is again a little bit more at the back. We curve around so we can connect it with the thumb, this little finger here. And what's missing is the gem in her hand, this ruby here, which is simply a circle, then also a circle on top right here, which is simply connected with 4 lines. This is how you draw Ruby. And we're moving over to Sapphire now. Now Sapphire is about the same height as Ruby, but the head is much smaller. It is just about the size of this part of Ruby's face here. And this is what we're going to draw over here. Again, slightly rotated to the side because they're looking at each other. Therefore we have to consider the perspective. And then what I'm doing is, let's zoom in a little bit. At first we have here, if we have the center here, it's slightly above it, and we draw a half circle like so, which is slightly bigger than half of this square. And then we have these 3 curves here, 1, 2, and 3, and then at the third one we have this spike. This is how you draw the front part of the hair. And to get the spacing correct, what I do is I always think about parting this line of the square here in 3 equal parts with these 2 curves here. Now for the mouth, at first we have the lip here, and I'm giving her a smile, of course, and the other lip, the lower lip, over here. Different from Ruby, she has these lines for the lips, but she doesn't have a nose, so this face doesn't work. Now for the neck, it is very slender, and the chest is about as wide as the square, maybe a little bit bigger. Because we have rotated it, the square is slightly less wide, and therefore we have to consider that for this oval shape here for the chest, which is still going to be the original size, what is intended for the square. And so we draw it about this size here. Then we have these curves coming down here. It is curved because again we are looking at her from the side, and above the center, like this would be the center line, above it you have this line here too. Now as for the shoulders, we have 2 circles which are slightly above the center line, and they are so big that they are reaching up to the lower line of the square, just touching it, like so, and on the other side of course too. And now for the dress, we are starting with these curves here, and consider that you shouldn't draw it like too close to each other, or also not too far at the side. Just about here would be the appropriate position. And so we curve it down until we get to the ground, like so. And here we can give it some waves too, in order to make it more interesting. Alright, this is about correct. Now there's also this clove part over here, and if we look at the dress and see where the center is, it's slightly above it. And a way that this clove part is drawn is very often in a way that we have at first it's coming down like so, curving down, and then we have this kind of a wave shape here going around like so. The same on the other side too. And this is a very common way how this clove part is drawn, and so we are going to do that too. And of course you can also add some curves here and there for the dress too, for the folds, but don't overdo it, otherwise it gets a little bit too messy. It's a cartoon style after all, and so you don't want it to have too many details. Now for the arms, first of all I am choosing a different color in order to separate it from the orange here. And one hand is going to be at her chest, like this very feminine kind of pose. Ooh. And this is what we are going to do here too. And so we have the hand here, very simple, almost fist shape, and then I simply connect it with the shoulder in a way that we have these long oval shapes, and I just put them together like so. And this is a simple way to draw them. And the other arm of course is reaching out to Ruby's hand, and you have these 2 partitions here, and the lower arm is slightly longer normally, and then I give her the base for her hand, which is longer and more slender than Ruby's hand. And as for the fingers, I have here at first the index finger slightly curved downwards like so, and she has much longer and slender fingers than Ruby's, and the rest of the fingers are just slightly indicated and getting smaller and smaller, and the 4th one we don't even really see anymore. And the thumb is as long as to the point where the other fingers are starting, and then going about where the middle part of the palm is, and then connect it with the back part over here. Alright, and now for the rest of the hair. At first we're drawing the top part, which is almost a half circle but slightly flattened at the top, and then we curve it around here, curve it more, and at a point where about like right here we are starting to give her the waves for her hair, and the hair is quite long. It's reaching up like about to this height over here, and for the other side we are starting like about right here, and have again these waves, and of course we see a little bit less because it's from the side. And this is how you draw Sapphire. Of course I forgot also this small part here where the face is a little bit hidden behind her hair. Alright, now I'm going to do the time-lapse again, but this time it's gonna be different, because I had an idea. Well, up until now it was always like, when I did my research, I always was finding some facts, or I created a story to tell you while I'm drawing. But the problem with that is, when I do that, I have to do two things at once. At first I have to draw, of course, and then also have to tell the story or the facts, and it's making it so much more difficult for me. And this time, like right here, I just talked about the drawing, which is much simpler for me. And now I want to tell you the story while the time-lapse is running. And this way the time-lapse can also run much slower, so it's not too hectic and you can follow it much better, but it's still at the same time it's not too boring to watch. So let's start. I hope that you all have a nice Valentine's Day, regardless of whether you have a significant other or not. And if you don't, then there is no need to feel down or depressed or whatever. And to me, Valentine's Day isn't just about lovers and buying presents and blah blah, but about love in a more of a general sense. And you can find love at many different places, in many different forms. And you don't need a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever in order to be happy. As for me, I am single now since several years. But actually, it doesn't really bother me too much. I'm already very happy with my life, and I'm getting so much love from all sorts of people, and I'm also able to give so much love, which is very important to me. I have my wonderful friends, for whom I'm really deeply grateful for. My family, who is always there for me and always there for them. Even my two cats, and although they're sometimes very annoying, they still bring me so much joy every single day. And then there's also my work. You see, well, my work can be quite dry sometimes. I'm all by myself in my apartment, and I'm doing the research and drawing and repeat, doing the recordings and the editing and all this stuff. But what makes it so much more special and so much more enjoyable is you, all of you. Your comments, your messages, of which are about 99% very positive, which is quite rare for YouTube. And I'm always glad to hear from you that you like my videos, and your feedback, your constructive feedback and questions are very helpful to me. And this support is a form of love to me, because you don't have to do it, but you still do it. And I also love you guys so much, and you are the reason why this job is like a dream job to me. And even though my channel is still very small and I'm barely earning anything, it brings me so much joy every day. And yeah, so from deep within my heart, thank you so much. This has gotten quite serious now. I hope it wasn't too awkward. Let's get back to the drawing. What I also want to say is, well, you can use these techniques in order to draw them in any sort of pose. You don't have to draw them in exactly the same pose like I did, but you can use it for all sorts of different positions and stances and so on. I'm saying this because it's often the case that when people are using my tutorials, they are doing it one by one, like I did. And if this would be the purpose of my tutorials, then I wouldn't bother with these shapes like oval shapes and squares and whatnot, but I would just draw the lines as they are and be done with it. Maybe use a grid as a helpful tool, but that's it. But that's not the point. I give you some tools and then you can be creative with them. Alright, let's get to the Q&A section, and this time I got a question from Unseen Ivy, my dear friend. And she's asking, what are some pieces of advice you wish someone had told you when you first started drawing? Were there things you wished you had learned about sooner, or even just some things to keep your morale up as a beginner that you think would have been valuable for someone just starting out? So this is a long question, but I can answer it very quickly. Well, as for the drawing techniques and stuff, of course I wish I would have known them sooner, but that's not the point of this question. But how to learn. And the thing is, learn the basics. Learn the basics from the start. It's so helpful, and when you draw and just do whatever, then you get used to these false techniques that you may develop, and then you have to unlearn it again when you start to learn the real thing. And so if you learn the correct way of doing it from the start, then you save a lot of time. Also, a thing that I did back then was to copy a lot of drawings. I had my mangas and I just copied the drawings in them in order to practice. But I tell you, this form of practice is very bad. You may learn how to copy things, but you're barely learning how to draw by yourself, and so it doesn't really help you. And as for the morale, like, well, back then I had some problems with that because I didn't feel the improvement. But since I started to really learn, I'm able to see how much better I get every month even. And this is such a great motivation. And of course, this whole show and stuff and you guys are a big motivation point for me too. Alright, so again, I hope that you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And yeah, see you next time with more Steven Universe tutorials. There will be many more of them. And of course, if you have a question for me, whatever it is about, then you can just let me know down below in the comment section. And if you want to help me keeping the show running, then you can support me on Patreon, and I would really appreciate it. Alright then, have fun drawing.